Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Magic Ridge. I'm your host, Ridge. Nice to meet you. And today on Magic News with Magic Ridge, we're going to go over the new cards that are released in the new Adventures of the Forgotten Realms EDH deck. And today's deck is going to be Dungeons of Death. So we're going to go over the new cards printed in Dungeons of Death. These cards are legal in Commander, Vintage, and Legacy. They are not, and I repeat, they are not legal in Standard, Pioneer, or Modern, okay? So, whether that's important to you or not, you know, I'm a big Commander player, so I like to go over these. These are basically like an extension of the base set, if that makes any sense. So, like, they're just... it's an extra 62 cards or whatever onto the actual set, so it's worth going over here. So we're going to get right into it. So let's get these previews. So first up, we get a blue card, very high CC here. It costs 5 mana of any color, and then Island, 7 CC for a sorcery. This sorcery says, roll 2 D8 dice, so 8-sided dice, 2 of them, and choose one result, so whatever number you want there. Draw cards equal to that result, then you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to the other result from your hand without paying its mana cost. Yeah, these are interesting for sure, very interesting. I'm not sure I feel this one. I'm not a huge blue player. Do you guys like it? What do you guys think? What's your opinions here? Leave it in the comments below, you know. Let's get a little, you know, reactive. What's going on here? Next up, we've got Bucknard's Ever Full Purse. Bucknard, huh? Okay. Costs 2 mana of any color, 2 CC, artifact. You can pay 1 mana and tap this artifact to roll a D4, a 4-sided dice, and create a number of treasure tokens equal to the result. I believe those are the triangle dice, once again. The player to your right gains control of Bucknard's Ever Full Purse. This is interesting. This could go in some, like, hug decks, group hug decks or something. You just want to help people out, whatever. That'd definitely go in a hug deck for sure. Very cool, very cool. Taking the Bucknard's Ever Full Purse. All right, very nice. Next up, we do have a reprint or a second copy. We've already spoiled this in the other deck. The other deck has one of these as well. One of the other decks, Aura of Courage, has a Clay Golem as well. For 4 mana of any color, we'll go over it again anyway, because maybe you haven't seen that one. For 4 mana of any color, 4 CC, we have an artifact creature Golem. This Golem is a 4/4. You can roll, you can pay 6 mana rather, and roll a 8-sided dice, a D8. This Golem has Monstrosity X, where X is the result. So if this creature isn't monstrous, put X +1/+1 counters on it, and it becomes monstrous. So if you roll a 6 on your 8-sided dice, you're going to give it 6 +1/+1 counters. This card also has Berserk. So when Clay Golem becomes monstrous, destroy target permanent. And all that stuff on a little uncommon Golem. Pretty good. Definitely probably go into like a Golem theme deck, maybe. I don't think there's that many Golems out there yet. Golem artifact deck, Golem commander deck seems pretty good though. Seems pretty good. Next up, we've got Component Pouch. For 3 mana of any color, 3 CC artifact. You can tap this artifact and remove a component counter from Component Pouch. Add 2 mana of different colors. Very nice there. 2 mana of different colors. Or you can tap it to roll a D20. All right. And put a component... excuse me. A 1 through 9 is going to net you, put a component counter on Component Pouch. So 1 through 9 is 1 component counter. And if you net a 10 through 20, you're going to put 2 component counters on Component Couch. So yeah, this is okay. This is okay. Like I said, it's got the downside, so you got to put the counters on it. You can't use it every turn. So one turn you're gonna be putting counters on it. The next turn you're gonna be removing them for 2 different colors of mana. But there's not very many artifacts that I know that add 2 different colors of mana, like mana rocks that add. It's usually, one of the same color or something like that situation. We'll see what that does. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Next up, we've got a Dimir card, blue and black. We've got Extract Brain. All right. It costs X. It's got an X in there. X mana of any color, and then an Island Swamp. Unknown CC. We have a Sorcery Speed. Target opponent chooses X cards from their hand. Look at those cards. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. All right, indeed. This is pretty good, maybe. I could see this being played. So, target opponent chooses X cards from their hand. Oh, wait. Opponent? Oh, but you get to cast it. Oh, yeah, so it's even better. I'm even liking it more. So you get to cast one of your opponent's spells. Very nice. See, this is sneaky stuff right here. Very nice, very nice. I like it. Those colors, especially black, are not hard to generate high manas costs anyway. Well, you're going to need, 6, 7 max there. Pretty good. I like it. Extract Brain, thumbs up, Watsy. We see you, Watsy. Next up, we've got Grave Endeavor. For 5 mana of any color, and then Swamp. We've got a whopping 7 CC again, very high CCs. But this is actually at instant speed, so that's interesting. A big spell at instant speed. So this one says roll 2 d10s. So roll 2 10-sided dice and choose one of the results. One of the results is going to return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to that result. So whichever dice you favor more in this situation. Then each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the other result. Pretty cool. I don't know how I feel about these ones, but there's one in every color, it seems like. It's a lot for the brain to process, at least for me. But it's just hard, seeing both the numbers, I guess, for me. Maybe if I rolled some dice, we would see here. I don't know if I have 2 d10s. I have a d12, which is weird, Here's a d12. Of course, it's, backwards or whatever. But that's a d12 I got just lying around. So we need some d10s. All right. How do you guys feel about those? What do you think? Next up, we've got a white artifact. We have a Movable Rod. It's pinning down this halfling or whatever it is here. 1 plains, 1 CC artifact. You may choose not to untap Immovable Rod during your untap step, okay? I'm guessing it's probably going to keep something untapped or something tapped or something. Next up, it says, whenever Immovable Rod becomes untapped, venture into a dungeon. I didn't see that one coming, so whenever it untaps, you venture in a dungeon. You can pay 4 mana and tap this rod for as long as Immovable Rod remains tapped. Another target permanent loses all abilities and can't attack or block. Very interesting. I don't think super highly of it, but definitely has got its uses. It's got its uses, for sure. Next up, we got a pretty cool artwork, in my opinion. We've got Midnight Path Lighter. Light the path, boys. For 2 mana of any color in a Plains Island, 4 CC, we have a creature type Human Wizard. This wizard is a 2/3. Creatures you control can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. Pretty cool. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, venture into a dungeon. Now, I don't believe it. You're not going to venture into a dungeon for every creature, I don't think, from the sounds of how it's worded. We got some more venture in the dungeon, multicolor. Creatures can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. That one's pretty cool. I like them a lot. Next up, we've got a legendary creature. Just in the deck here. Her name, I believe, is Min Willie Illusionist. For 1 mana of any color and island, 3 CC, you get a legendary creature, Gnome Wizard. Very cool. This wizard is a 1/3. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue illusion creature token with this creature gets +1/+0 for each other illusion you control. Hey! Very nice. All right, we've got Illusion Tribal coming to the EDH game, I think. That is what this signifies. Very nice. So we've got some stuff for our illusions now. Very cool. So whenever an illusion you control dies, you may put a permanent card with mana value less than or equal to that creature's power from your hand onto the battlefield. Very nice. I might have to make some Illusion Tribal. This is very nice. We have a Gnome Wizard that is basically an illusion lord. And it's also a commander. So it's just going to put illusions one step into the door there for commander, EDH gameplay. Tribal stuff, very cool. I like this a lot. I didn't think I was going to like this card. This is probably the most hype I've been on a card. I don't know if it's the tribal thing or whatever. I like it. I like it. Illusions aren't usually super great either. There's some okay ones, I think. But yeah, nice. I like it. We're in. We're all in. Next up, we've got Nihilor. Nihilor, or something like that. For 2 mana of any color, plains, island, swamp, 5 CC, we have a legendary creature, Horror. This Horror is a 3/5. It's got a little extra of that booty on him. Whenever Nihilor enters the battlefield, for each opponent, tap up to 1 untapped creature you control. When you do, gain control of target creature that player controls with power less than or equal to the tapped creature's power for as long as you control Nihilor. So we got some stealing shenanigans going on here. A lot of people are going to like that. A lot of people are going to not like that. So if you want to steal your opponent's stuff and beat their face with it, go ahead and check out Nihilor. Alright, next up he says this. He's got whenever you attack with a creature an opponent owns that you control, you gain 2 life and that player loses 2 life. Alright, that's an extra cool little bit. That's going to... Yeah, you're gonna get stuff for stealing stuff. For what the deck does, you're gonna get rewarded with 2 life and lose 2 life your opponent. Very cool. We're gonna move along though. Not as hyped about the Horror. It's very cool, but I personally am not into stealing my opponent's things. But I do find it fascinating when people do steal stuff on the battlefield. It gets a little interesting. A lot of people can get upset. Whatever. It's It's a good time. It's a good time. Next up, we've got Phantom Steed. For 3 mana of any color and an island, 4 CC, we have a 4/3 Horse Illusion to go into your new Illusion Tribal EDH deck, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This Horse Illusion has flash, which makes sense there. I was going to say it has a little bit of this extra front action, because it's a little bigger. He's a big boy. When Phantom Steed enters the battlefield, exile another target creature you control until Phantom Steed leaves the battlefield. So that's kind of like an evasive move right there. Whenever Phantom Steed attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of the exiled creature, except it's an illusion in addition to its other types. Sacrifice that token at the end of combat. Very interesting, very interesting. It's definitely a good illusion to go in the new Illusion Tribal type commander deck there. Very cool, very cool. I like it a lot. Next up, we have an Angel. Alright. I got a high bar for the Angels, though. So we have Radiant Solar. For 5 mana of any color and a plains, 6 CC. It's only costs 1 white mana, though. That's kind of interesting. This Creature Angel is a 3/6. She's got a whole bunch of extra. She got a bank back there. You know what I'm saying? She rock with a bank. Or he. Looks like he's got a bank. Excuse me. This man is quite the bank back there. He is a 3/6 flying lifelink angel. Whenever Radiant Solar or another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, venture into the dungeon. So we have a dungeon mechanic for angels now. I don't think he's going to make the cut. I'd have to have some sort of way to abuse this ETB so I can just do all the dungeons real quick or something, which wouldn't be that bad. But he's going to be hard to grab or whatever, you know. There's not very many tutors for creatures. If he was a legendary, you could tutor him up in white. So, yeah, I don't know. Definitely going to be good for the blinking, though. ETB dungeon stuff. If you can blink them a bunch, you're just going to go through dungeons like no problem. So he's definitely, you know, he's something to keep an eye on. See how he rocks. See what's going on here. He also has something else here. So you could pay 1 mana, discard Radiant Solar. If you'd rather not play him, definitely an option. You can venture into the dungeon and gain 3 life. Alright. Cool. Not bad. I've seen a lot better angels, though. Next up, we have another white card. We've got, I don't know how to spell this, or say this either, pronounce it. We've got Revivity. Oh, there we go. Revivify. I think it's Revivify. Or Revivity, or whatever I just said. But I think it's Revivify. For 2 mana of any color in a plains, 3 CC, instant speed. Roll a d20 and add the number of creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Alright, I'm just going to read that again for myself and you guys. But roll a d20 and add the number of creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. A 1 through 14 is going to net you return all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn to your hand, rather. A 15 plus is going to return those cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, a couple options here. White player. Pretty good white player. EDH and, what is it called there? I like the older formats. All the format. Legacy, Vintage. I like those a lot. Okay? So, this is my thoughts here. So, this is good with like a lower... White can make mana and stuff with rocks and stuff. It's pretty good. It's okay. So what I'm thinking... Let's use whatever phone's ringing here. Yeah. I mean, it's not as great as I'd want it to be, but say you go for a board wipe, or I'll just use an example. I play Avacyn, so usually my stuff's indestructible. But say it's not, and I have less creatures, no creatures on the battlefield, whatever. My opponents, how many ever of them are there, their boards are full of creatures or something, okay? That's going to be useless in this scenario. I just realized it's going to be useless. Okay, so let's come up with something else. So you have a bunch of creatures. And maybe everybody's got a bunch of creatures. I don't know. But their creatures are more powerful or something. Or you're going to die. Something crazy. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's one with evasion or something. So you need to use a board wipe. And you've got plenty of mana. So hopefully you use like a Day of Judgment or Wrath of God. Something that's like 4 or less. There's even Hour of Revelation. If there's enough creatures on the battlefield, you can board wipe for 3 mana instead there. And then, if you have this extra mana, after you board wipe the board, you can play Revivity, or whatever it is, and then hopefully you're going to get a 15 plus, which is actually going to be pretty hard to deal with, but you're going to return all your creatures to your hand instead. They won't die, okay? And this is another case if I didn't have my commander, which makes everything indestructible. So this is kind of like you have to do it for whatever reason. You got to pop the board. So you do. And then if you roll a 1 through 14, you're going to get all those creatures back to your hand so you can play them again. And if you get a 15 plus, which would be the goal here, you would return all those creatures back to the battlefield. So you're going to get ETBs, etc. as well, if you have ETBs and things like that. So it's pretty good. It does have a downside, though. 1 through 14 is not going to be great. Especially if you have a big board, you're going to play them all again. You know, that's going to cost mana. It's not bad. It's better than just losing everything for the whole game, right? So I don't know. What do you guys think? I was trying to give it, you know, I'm trying to see if it can fit in my deck or not. You know, I play a pretty high-powered white EDH deck, and I just don't think it makes the cut, personally. But it is very cool. It's going to be even cooler if you get that 15-plus roll. We're going to move along. Moving along, we're at 20 minutes here. Next up, we've got Rod of Absorption. For 2 mana of any color in an island, 3 CC, you have an artifact. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, exile it instead of putting it into a graveyard. As it resolves, it's going to stop people from like recasting things out of their graveyard, instants and sorceries, etc. You can pay X mana and tap this Rod. Sacrifice Rod of Absorption. You may cast any number of spells from among cards exiled with Rod of Absorption with total mana value X or less without paying their mana costs. You can't go crazy with this because you do have the X in there, so you can't potentially cast every spell, every instant and sorcery that's been exiled with this card. But you're probably going to get a good chunk of them. Like I said, I'm not a huge blue player. Artwork's pretty rad. What do you guys think? You going to play this? What are you going to do? What do you think? Rod of Absorption. I don't think anything, but I am interested in this one. Next, moving along, we have Thorough Investigation. For 2 mana of any color and then a Plains 3 CC, we have a white enchantment. Whenever you attack, investigate. And investigate is create a colorless clue artifact token with, you can pay 2 mana, sacrifice this artifact to draw a card. That's pretty good in white. You're also creating artifacts, which would matter, I guess, if you're metal crafting or something. Next up on the bottom here, it says, whenever you sacrifice a clue, venture into the dungeons. There's another potential white dungeon mechanic thing there, so you can get into a dungeon. Yeah, not bad, not bad. I don't think it's going to make the cut once again, but it's good. It's good. You got the dungeon mechanic, you've got white card draw. I mean, you can't really... That's pretty good. It's not, you know, top tier, but it's good. Moving along, this one's interesting as well. We have Wand of Orcas. For 2 mana of any color in a swamp, 3 CC, we have an legendary artifact equipment. Very cool. Whenever equipped creature attacks or blocks, if it and zombies you control gain death touch until end of turn. So this is going to be a zombie theme artifact equipment. And then whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. And its equip cost is 3. But usually I say if things have an equip cost 3, they're kind of like poo-poo. But in this case, since it's so specific to like zombie tribal type of black deck, the equip 3 I think is fine here. Black has no problem producing mana as well. Very good. Pretty efficient. Yeah. Giving zombies death touch. So it's almost like a legendary it's almost like a lord in artifact equipment form, if you will. It's going to be making a bunch of... If you can hit somebody for like 7 damage, you're making 7 2/2 black zombies. That's pretty good. So yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. That's probably my favorite card so far. And last but not least, we have one of the potential commanders in this deck. Dungeons of Death. We've got Cephalus, right? Cephalus of the Hidden Ways. For a Plains, Island, and Swamp. 3 CC, pretty low, not bad. You get a legendary creature human wizard. This wizard is a 2/3. It's got a little extra bank. We're not sure of the gender. We're not going to assume here. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, venture into the dungeon. This ability triggers only once each turn. That's unfortunate. So whenever something dies of yours, once a creature hits the graveyard, you're going to venture in the dungeon. Only once per turn, though. His other ability or whatever here is called Create Undead. Very cool. Whenever you complete a dungeon, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's definitely interesting. It's not going to be OP, I don't think. Like I said, it does have the limit only on... It says specifically on this card, only triggers once each turn. So that's going to limit the deck's potential there. Yeah, and I don't know how relevant it's going to be to complete a dungeon. Generally going to take a good amount of work, but I mean, if you're using all the adventure and the dungeon cards, it probably won't be. So I'm guessing this is going to be a dungeon deck. It's all about dungeons. You're going to be running pretty much everything that makes you go into a dungeon in these 3 colors. That is my assumption, okay? Pretty cool. I don't know if I like this deck as much as the last one. Just personal opinion on whatever the spoiled new cards were. I do like the Aura, the other Aura deck there. What is it called? Aura of Creation or Courage. That's it. Aura of Courage. I did like that one a little better. The commanders and whatnot. Personally, I do like the blue Illusion commander in here. That's pretty cool. Hope y'all are having a wonderful day, wonderful evening. Hope you have the most badass lunch you've ever had. Go treat yourself or something. And yeah, I'll see I think every day of the week, if you're seeing this now, all the way till Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to be putting out one of these previews of the new cards every day until they're done. So there's 4 decks in total. Hope you enjoy this. I've had some people reach out and be like, hey, do you mind doing some new Commander deck stuff? Because everybody's a big fan of Commander. And I appreciate that. I finally got around to making it my own thing, you know. I don't just want to go over the deck, how to make the deck better. I just want to go through what's new, you know. It's the news. What's going on with news? Hey, new cards. You seen these? No? There you go. Helped you out, bud. Hope you get to, you know, hey, I want to add that to a deck. Appreciate it, man. Thanks. I do all the hard work for you. You just come by, hang out, and we'll just go over this stuff, man. I'm really excited for the end of the year with the 2 sets there. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be like Innistrad Block-ish, if that makes sense. But Innistrad Block was absolutely my favorite block in Magic, I believe. Just personal. I mean, I play Avacyn, which is from Innistrad Block. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow or whatever. We got a bunch of stuff coming out for you. So if you're interested in content, I got you. Got you.